Hi, my name is Kevin Taylor. I would like to ask, who is the brain behind Thriller in Manilla? This is With All Due Respect. With all due respect, my fellow Ghanaians, there's one thing I always say: focus. Let's be focused, because we can't be distracted by anything. We can't be distracted by the media men who have been paid to push this PDS scandal under the carpet. We can't be distracted by the politicians. We can't be distracted by the family and friends governing this nation today. We can't also be distracted by the jargons and the big English people are throwing out there, confuse you and I so that we don't get to know the truth. This is the part 2 of the PDS scandal. Today, I'm going to tell my fellow Ghanaians who is behind the smoke screen. In the first episode, I told Ghanaians the people who were fronting for these criminals who have been able to, or who managed to use the American money, the $380 million which was sent to ECG, to at least help ECG get to where they want to get to. Today, I'm going to tell you the people, yes, the people who actually made this happen. Forget about David Asare. Forget about the Philippa Yensus and the Yofi Grants. They were just dummies used to front this big scandal. Today, I'm going to reveal to Ghanaians the people behind this scandal. Today, I'm going to break it down. I'm going to make it simple. And I'm going to make every single Ghanaian understand why the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, is the mastermind behind this PDS scandal. Yes, I said it. The president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, is the man behind the scenes. He is pulling the strings. Gabby Otchere Darko, Ofori-Atta, they are all dummies he's using. But the person who calls the shot in this PDS scandal is the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. He went to Angola to do a cover-up. He went to Angola to lie. The real issues are here, and I'm going to break it down for my fellow Ghanaians to know. Now, let's just step back a little bit. You know, PDS, actually, the process started before MPP took office. That was around 2015. Actually, they had 6 companies which were shortlisted. Yes, 6 companies. And these companies were EDF. They were from France. Then there's BXC Ghana. Yes, it's a consortium in China that owns the BXC company. Now, we had CH Group Ghana. It was also one of the companies that was shortlisted. We had Veolia. It was a French company. It was also from France. There was Tata Power. That company was from India. And then Meralco from the Philippines. Now, all these companies were shortlisted. And then they went through a process. 2-stage process. The first process is the RFQ process. That is the request for qualification. Now, the RFQ, which is very vital, stated that no foreign company could be added to this list after they have passed this stage. Now, this is what happens. After the change of government, the president strategically made 2 changes. Yes, at MEDA and also ECG. Now, he made Kelly Kajapo, who was part of Enterprise Group and still part of Enterprise Group, the head or the board chair of ECG. Then he made Martin Ison Benjamin. Yes, Martin Ison Benjamin, the head of MEDA. So he appointed these 2 people strategically and placed them there. Now the table started to shake a little bit. This is what happened. BXC Ghana, which had done business with ECG before, they even gave ECG in the past $200 million without guarantees. They worked with ECG before. They had the technical know-how, and also they were financially stable. These guys, the excuse was that they had foreknowledge about ECG, something. You know, Ison Benjamin came up with something, and these guys were frustrated. They were kicked out of the deal. Now, CH Group, they were kicked out of the deal. Veolia from France, they were kicked out of the group. Tata Power, they were also kicked out of the deal. Now, it was left with just Meralco from Philippines. Now, the local component comes in. These companies show up. TG Energy Solutions. TG Energy Solutions was fronted by David Asare. The real owner of TG Energy Solutions is Joseph Sian Japan, the owner of Zoom Lion. Forget about David Asare. He doesn't have a dime. This is the guy who is behind TG Energy Solutions. Now there's TGS, which is also owned by Fred Asumeni. Fred Asumeni is affiliated to Joseph Sian in Japan. Yes, the Zoom Lion boss. So technically, Joseph has shares in TGS. Now there was Santa Baron, is also linked to Gabby Otchere Darko, Ken Ofori-Atta, and Edward Ekufu. Edward Akufo-Addo is the only brother to Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. I'll tell you about this guy as we move on. Then there was Miracle, which is a foreign company there. Then this is what happened. Now we have 4 companies put together who have made it to the second stage, which is the RFP. The Zoom Lion boss reaches out to Philip Ayensu. This is where Philip Ayensu comes in. This is where he comes in. He reaches out to Philip Ayensu because of his connection and direct link to the president. Philip Ayensu is a very good friend to the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. He's a very good friend to Gabby Otchere Darko. In fact, he sold Gabby Otchere Darko's land to him. The land he's living on now, his house is built on now. Philip Ayensu sold that land to him. He is a very good friend to Edward Akufo-Addo, Nana Akufo-Addo's only brother. He's also a very good friend to Ken Ofori-Atta. Now, this is what the Zoom Lion guy does. He brings on Philip Ayensu and tells Philip Ayensu to get in there, convince the president that they can bring on board another investor, another foreign investor. Remember that in the part 1, I told you that there was a building which was occupied by Yofi Grant. That same building was occupied by Ken Ofori-Atta and his wife and Enterprise Group. This same building had Philip Ayensu in there. Philip Ayensu had his office in that same building. Yes. So you have to see the connection. That's why when they were tracing the address of the Eneja SA people, it ended up in that building. Now let's push that aside. Philip Ayensu goes in with his influence. He's able to convince the president, convince Gabby Otchere Darko, convince Ken Ofori-Atta and Edward Akufo-Addo that he has a friend. He's a business partner. His name is Rich. He has a friend who is a business partner. His name is Rich. He deals in oil and that he owns Eneja SA. Remember that at this point, we are at the second stage, which is the RFP. We have passed the RFQ, which is the request for qualification. We are at request for proposal. And when you pass the first stage, no foreign company can be brought into this deal. No foreign company, because it's stated emphatically that after you pass the first stage, which is the RFQ, you can't bring in any foreign company. But MEDA accept Eneja SA at the second stage with the RFP. Yes, MEDA led by Martin Ison Benjamin, who was elected by the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, strategically accepted Eneja SA into the deal. So finally, PDS was formed. We got 5 companies. We have TG Energy Solutions, belonging to Joseph Siam, TGS, which belongs to Fred Asumeni, Santa Baron, linked to Gabby, Ken Ofori-Atta, and Nana Addo Dankwa's only brother, then Miracle, and Eneja SA. So now we have PDS now. Now let's move on. The question becomes very simple. At this stage, is Eneja a local company or a foreign company? Because Eneja SA came in after they have passed the first stage, which is the RFQ. The laws or the regulations or the rules stated that no foreign company could come in after they have passed that stage. Now, this is the tricky part. Now, they say Miracle has 30%. It's a foreign company. They say Eneja SA has 19%, making it 49%. Clear, we get it. Eneja is a foreign company, even though at this point, Eneja is not legal to be in there as a foreign company. Now, let's see the local components. Santa Baron, TGS, TG Energy Solutions, they make up the 51%. Now the question is, if Eneja is a foreign company and did not pass the first stage, it means that Eneja does not qualify to be in there. Now, if Eneja is considered as a domestic or a local company, then it means that the local component of this deal is 70% and the foreign is 30%. Don't get confused. Let me explain that to you. Now, Miracle has 30% shares. Miracle went through the first stage and went through the second stage. Eneja SA did not go through the first stage, which is very crucial. The first stage, if you don't go through, no foreign company could be added to the second stage. Now, illegally, they were slotted in there and they went through the second stage. As it stays now, let's say Energia is a foreign company. They have 19%. Adding to the 30% of Miracle is 49%. The domestic coming together, they get 51%. This is the tricky part. If they say Energia, and I know that is what they are trying to do now, change documents to come tell Ghanaians that Energia is half domestic, half foreign, but basically it's domestic. No, Energia, if Energia is a Ghanaian company, then it means that we have been tricked. We have been tricked in the sense that the local component of this deal is they have 70% shares in this deal because Energia falls under local company. Now, this is where we get to Thriller in Manila. This is Thriller in Manila. Now, I would like to ask, who actually formed Thriller in Manila? Thriller in Manila was a WhatsApp group put together by Gabby Otchere Darko under the instructions, from the instructions of the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo. Now, this group was made up of only 12 people. 12 people. The group was put together, this is the date this WhatsApp group was put together, it was 08/06/2018. This is when Gabby Otchere Darko put together this group. Today we're playing the chess game. There were 12 in there. I'm going to give Gabby Otchere Darko 6 names. I'm going to hold on to the 6 names because I know he's going to come out and lie. I have chats. I'm going to show everybody what is happening here. The lies, the scandal. Now, the 6 names in this group, you will find Philip Ayensu. He was in this WhatsApp chat. Gabby Otchere Darko, he is the administrator. Babatunde Ampa. If you don't know Babatunde Ampa, he's the Vice President, Corporate Finance, Data Bank. Yes, Babatunde Ampa is the Vice President, Corporate Finance at Data Bank. He was part of this Thriller in Manila WhatsApp group. Edward Akufo-Addo, he's the only brother of the president. He's sometimes called Bumpty. He was in this group too, as you can see his name. Then there was Kwame Ofosu Bamfo. Sickens was in there, in this group. Now, Narendra Swari. This Narendra Swari lady works at Gabby Otchere Darko's law firm. She was in this group. This is the 6. I'll keep the 6 because we are playing a chess game here. The people we are dealing with are liars and criminals, and we have to be smarter than them. Let's move on. Why was this group put together, Thriller in Manila? I'm going to explain to Ghanaians why this group was put together. This group has nothing to do with PDS as it stands now. Nobody knows them. They don't have any connections. Maybe you might say Philip Ayensu. Gabby Otchere Darko always says on his Twitter page, he has nothing to do with PDS. Babatunde Ampa, who is he? Nothing to do with PDS. Edward Akufo-Addo, the brother of the president, Nana Addo Akufo-Addo, nothing to do with PDS. Kwame Ofosu Bamfo, Sickens, very, very close to the president, nothing to do with PDS as it states. And the Swari lady, nothing. But their main or their core reason for putting together this WhatsApp group was because of PDS. And I'm going to read a statement made by Gabby Otchere Darko. This statement was made in the group because some people in the group felt that their shares were going to be cut. The person who was actually raising the red flag or having concerns with this was Philip Ayensu. Now, this is what Gabby says in Thriller in Manila. He says, Philip, referring to Philip Ayensu, the structures won't work if you don't incorporate an SPV. I do not understand why we are fighting over this. At this point, Philip Ayensu was arguing that why did they want to do the restructure and why the finance minister is pushing for that idea. This is where it goes. He goes on to say, the objection to this is totally surprising and frankly unhelpful. I think we should all meet tonight. This is Gabby speaking. Everybody in this group, they should all meet tonight. And he suggested, I am suggesting 7 p.m. Gabby goes on to say that, are we working for the Filipinos or to ensure that the real intent behind the president's push for the 51% local ownership is realized? I'll take this again. Are we working for the Filipinos or to ensure that the real intent behind the president's push for 51% local ownership is realized? It is not done for the optics. He goes on to say that we must meet on the structure and on financing. These people will come on their Twitter, they'll come on their Facebook and say, we have nothing to do with PDS. Today, they are here suggesting and dictating what should happen to this PDS deal. These are the kind of people we have in power. this is the friends and family criminals we have to be dealing with. These are the people we have to be exposing. And Gabby goes on to say, he does not finish there. He says that we must meet on the structure and on financing. We also need full transparency going forward and to control. Listen to what Gabby says. He said, we also need full transparency going forward and to control the drafting of the shareholders agreement with Meralco. You know, at this point, they've realized that Meralco has so much power, 30% in this whole thing. They needed to cut Meralco into pieces. Why did they think they had to do that? There was a trick there. You saw that in the list I gave you, Sickens was in there in this group. Do you know that Sickens is on the board of PDS? Most people don't know. Sickens, Kwame Boafo, is on the board of PDS. Remember that when the restructure was going to be done, they said some companies were going to come on board. Those companies were TB Plus. That company belongs to Sickens. And then Otin Jesse is a personal friend to the president. The president promised him that he has to be in there. So the idea of the restructuring Ken Ofori-Atta was pushing for all the time was because he wanted TB Plus, which belonged to Sickens, and Otin Jesse, who is a friend to the president, to be pushed in there, and then some shares will be cut and given to these people. Basic. My fellow Ghanaians, don't get confused. We are still going to move forward, but this is what Trailer and Manilla were fighting over. Trailer and Manilla were the guys who were pulling the strings behind the scene. Trailer in Manilla was put together by Gabby Otchere Darko. He should come out. Gabby, I expect you to come out and say this wasn't put together by you. I expect you to come out and come speak English and tell Ghanaians that I'm lying, and I will show you. Kevin Taylor, I will show you, Gabby Otchere Darko, the things you are hiding from people. Let's move on. Don't get confused. It is simple. I'm going to summarize everything for you. Forget about the big English. This is where the truth is. I would like to tell you that the president, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, knows about everything. He is actually the mastermind behind all that is happening. His brother, Ken Ofori-Atta, Gabby Otchere Darko, all these people are working for the president. He is pulling the string and he's making the decisions. The money, he is the one we are chasing after. Now, let's move on. Now, PDS has been formed, right? How did they raise the money? This is what they did. They forced MEDA to bend the rules for them. Now, this is how PDS is going to access that 380 million the United States taxpayer sent to Ghana to help ECG. They bend the rules. What they did was, in the rules, there was something called condition precedent. Condition precedent is simple. Don't be worried about the English. Before PDS comes in, show us money. You show us money, show us what you can do, then you move in. Because in the rules or in the regulations, you were supposed to have 60% financial strength and 40% technical know-how. So they were actually looking at the money aspect more than the technical aspect because ECG was struggling. We needed money and then the technicalities comes with it. Now this is what happens. MEDA, led by his son Benjamin, bends the rules from condition precedent to condition subsequent. The difference here is moving it from condition precedent to condition subsequent. It is simple. It means that PDS can now start working. They can now start working with ECG, and then along the way, they will raise that money. So open the door for them to go in without any money, nothing, zero. Go in there, and as they are in there working, collecting revenue and accessing ECG, they can now come out and show us that this is the money they raised. This is what they did. When MEDA, led by his son Benjamin, opened that window for them through condition subsequent, they went in there and they contacted Kelly Kajepo, who was put there by the president, who had access to the 380 million US dollars. And then Kelly Kajepo handed over that money to them. It is simple, because without condition subsequent, these guys would never have made it to that money. So the president used his son Benjamin to create a window for PDS to go through. Now they go to Kelly Kajepo. It is easy. Kelly give them access to the money. That is how PDS made that money disappear. So my fellow Ghanaians, you now understand. This was a calculated thing. The president knew what he was doing. The first day he appointed his son Benjamin Martin Ison Benjamin to head MIDA and also appointed Kelly Kajipo to head ECG. That was his plan. At the end of the day, they wanted to access the money indirectly, and they did it. They did it. But I have some few questions for these people. Yes, few questions. I would like to ask, as at the date of the suspension, yes, as at when the energy minister came out to say, or the information minister came out to say, this deal has been suspended. How much money had these shareholders, I mean PDS, had these shareholders paid for the shares? We wanted to know how much money, because they should give us the accounts they sent that money from to pay into the ECG accounts as PDS. We want to know the date, the timelines, how much money they actually raised, because that will tell us how much money was already in ECG's accounts. So they should come out and tell us which accounts did they pay the money from into the ECG accounts as PDS. I would also like to ask, if the energy minister says there was fraud in this whole deal, we have to understand that in law, fraud cannot be cured. So technically, this deal is fraudulent. Yes, this deal is fraudulent from the top to the down. So why did they just suspend it and not to cancel it? If you say it was fraudulent, why suspend it? Because it is fraudulent. You just have to cancel the deal. They have to explain to us why was it suspended but not cancelled. I would also like to ask, these are simple questions. Why is PDS still taking or collecting money? I would also like to ask, why is Ison Benjamin still at post? I would also like to know, and this is a very critical question, how did Enagya Esse manage to get into the PDS deal? Mr. President, Ghanaians are wide awake now. You cannot play these tricks on us. It is clear that Thriller in Manilla was put together by Gabby under your instructions, and these names there, none of them initially you said knew about PDS, but they were discussing how this deal will be financed, how this deal steps will be taken to make sure some shares are taken away from some people. Mr. President, you cannot lie your way out of everything. And I would like to tell my fellow Ghanaians that this does not end here. I am working with the international media. Yes, I am working with the American media to make sure that this story is spread across the world. I am talking to all the media houses. We are putting documents together to make sure that it is reported. And all these individuals are featured in here. You know, somebody like Ofori-Atta, you want to get into the Yale high class, whatever. If you are involved in such scandal, if you are involved in this stinking scandal, we will make sure that Yale gets to know the corruption that you are overseeing in Ghana, the corruption you and your cousin, the president, the corruption you and your family are overseeing in Ghana. Don't think of the Yale high class, whatever. I will make sure that the world gets to know who you are. Who you are. Even though you are worth over $150 million and over, I will let the world, the intellectual world in the United States and across the world know who you are. The United States taxpayers' money cannot be used anyhow. The Americans will come in and ask questions, and I'll make sure I use the little connection I have to sell this story to the American media so that people will be asked questions. A group that belongs to one particular family to spend all this money. My fellow Ghanaians, this is just the beginning. In the weeks to come, I'll be revealing deep secrets behind this PDS deal. My name is Kevin Ekobedu Taylor, and this is With All Due Respect.